Have y'all been keeping up with this Jonah Hill thing? Yeah. Okay. No. Okay. So real quick, if you don't know what it is, Jonah Hill's ex put out a bunch of his text messages to her while they were dating, and she was a surfer. She still is, and then they were dating while she was surfing, and it's him being like, "Why you gotta surf around men, and why you got?" And she's like a surfer and a surf instructor. It's like, "Why you gotta surf with men, and why you gotta post pictures of yourself surfing in a bikini?" And all that. So it was all this shit like that, right? And it just you can see a decline in the text messages where he's clearly so worried about being cheated on, he's not making sense. He's like, "Why you gotta surf with dude?" Because then if you're surfing and then he's surfing, what if y'all start surfing on each other? You know what I mean? And then like y'all are surfing together, and what if you get surf in your mouth? And then now you were just covered in surf, and you come home and you like got surf on you. I was like, nigga, are you all right? Like, you know, so there's been a lot of backlash about him being narcissistic and misogynistic and everything. And I think Jonah Hill committed a cardinal sin. He really did. Jonah Hill told a woman what to do while being an ugly motherfucker. Can't do that shit. You cannot do that shit. Like, look at the text and then look at his face. You cannot tell anybody what to do, sir. That's too much bass in your text right now for that hairline you got, you know? I'm not gonna lie, if John Hamm had sent those same texts, if John Hamm was like, "I don't want you talking to any other men," you'd be like, "Okay, daddy." Like, yes. Did y'all see the Alabama brawl? Yo, who knew Wakanda was in Alabama? That was crazy. You know, that was wild. So many people came out of nowhere. That shit was like Black January 6th. That was like, that was crazy. If you didn't see the video, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'll explain it really quick. Basically, there was this one guy. He was an employee of the place, right? And he was like asking these people to move their boat, you know? So it was a black employee, but he was asking these people who happened to be white that had the boat to move their boat, and they wouldn't move the boat. I don't even know if this part is true, but I heard that the riverfront boat that was waiting to dock had been waiting for like 40 minutes because these people refused to move, right? So finally he just keeps going, like, "You gotta move the boat, you gotta move the boat." They get out of their boat, they're cursing at him, and he's not backing down. He's like, "You have to move the boat, I work here, you have to move the boat." And then they just keep cursing at him. Finally they put hands on him, and then they start fighting him. And he did his best. He held his own for quite a while. So it's not like they beat his ass, but they were clearly ganging up on this dude, right? And, you know, a lot of people, as soon as they saw the video, they got upset. I got upset once. I thought it was going to bum me out just seeing like 5 white dudes ganging up on this like middle-aged black dude and everything. And some people were upset about the racial part immediately. But I'm not going to lie. I was distracted. I wasn't. I didn't hate these people because they were ganging up on them and they were white. I hated them because they had a boat. You know what I mean? This isn't just a race thing. These rich fucks with a boat are trying to beat up a working class person. Is insane. You know, made me furious. And then they started fighting them, and then like other people came. And, you know, a lot of black people already saw what was happening. So then when the riverfront boat docked and other black people who saw what was happening, they all just swarmed. It looked like, like that one episode in Game of Thrones where, you know, they were losing, but then just more just came down the mountain. It was like, I was like, God damn, okay, wow. Send in the troops, apparently. I should back up. When the fight started, the initial fight where the dude was getting ganged up on, he just threw his hat. Just threw it, and that almost felt like a signal. That was, as a black person, I didn't know that was our call to arms. I didn't know this was like, oh, okay, all right, we go now. That was wild to begin with. Then it was crazy because then so many people swarmed in, it turned into a huge brawl, and I don't know if you saw a video, but there was one person that wanted to help when they saw him getting jumped so badly. that this nigga swam. Jumped in the water. From the camera angle, we don't know where he came from. I'd like to think he came from Africa. I'd like to think he started swimming 6 weeks ago in preparation. Because look, if you know, the history of black people swimming, especially in the South, you know that we're not known for it. You know what I mean? And so I'm not gonna critique his swimming because I was just happy to see another black dude swim. That's just, every one of us swimming is a W, okay? But I do have to comment because he wasn't swimming normal. Did you see him swim? He wasn't swimming regular. This was not regular swimming, right? This man wasn't swimming to the fight. This man was punching the water till he got there. I knew he was gonna whoop ass when he got out of the water because he would. I've never seen someone punch water till they got to their location. That was so crazy. Go back and watch the video. This man punching with horsepower. Like, I've never seen anything like it. And then he gets out of the water, starts whooping ass, everybody whooping ass and everything. So you know that those white people, when it started fighting, then started more fighting, you know they were relieved when the cops got there, but they must have been conflicted because half the cops were black. Like that's a situation where even when the cops arrive, you're like, ooh, whose side are you on? Because I was kind of doing a thing before you got here. You know what I mean? Honestly, that's what's so wild. Because I think also, I've tried to put my mind I've tried to put myself in the mind of each person that was in the video in a way. Do you know what I mean? Because that's a terrifying thing. To get jumped is a terrifying thing. Then the person swimming. Then I'm just trying to think about every angle that I could think about it from. I'm not gonna lie. That must have been a huge surprise because you out here ganging up on this one dude with your buddies, and then before you know it, there's just like 50 black people. That's. Listen, I'm telling you right now, let's say y'all just blinked, and when you opened your eyes, there were 50 black people behind me. I'm not even saying you'd be scared, but you'd be surprised. You'd be like, wow, that was fast. That's all you'd say. You know? Because that's the thing. That's, I think, the strangest part, one of the weirdest parts, like when you start watching the video, let's say you start watching the video, you had no context, nobody told you what was gonna happen, you hadn't seen any of the memes yet. The craziest thing about what happens is that, especially as a black person, I think some people are curious why black people have been memeing the shit out of it and everything. It's because if you know the South and you know the history of 5 white guys ganging up on a black guy and how that usually goes, you know, especially when they have enough money for a boat. Usually doesn't turn out well, you know what I mean? And so this was a different thing. This is a different outcome than we've ever really seen before, you know? Because I'll be honest with you. Let's say we're in a different time and there's no camera phones and they were able to leave before the cops got there. They would have just beat up that dude and left, you know? And that's my thing where it's like, okay, yeah, whoop their ass, we all laugh, we all celebrate, whatever, but like, fuck up that boat. Like, fuck up the... What are you doing? Like, bust up the bow or something. Like, rip a rudder out, please. I do think that would hurt them more than the ass whooping. They just be standing there and looking like skippers. Not the boat! You know what's actually crazy? I thought about this weekend. You know what I've never done at all in my life? And I had to really think about it. Never once in my life have I Googled Jada Pinkett Smith. So why do I know so much? Why do any of us know so much? Isn't that crazy? I've never even Googled Jada and Will. I've never sought any of this information. I know so much about them, it feels like we're related. It's devastating. I don't know if y'all saw the most recent interview. She's given her 1,000th. And in it, she says that she says so many things. First of all, she said that she sold crack when she lived in Baltimore, which is like believable. That's a very entry-level job in Baltimore. That part I was like, and? But then she also said her and Will have been separated for like 7 years. Which, what? She also said that Tupac is her soulmate. It's like she's going out of her way to hurt Will's feelings now. This is really insane. Tupac is your soulmate. You've been married for decades. My soulmate's a guy from the 90s. And the more I think about it, and the more I listen to Jada talk, the more that I'm convinced that Tupac died to get away from her. Like, I feel like... Easily. They dated for a while, you know what I mean? And then he got a taste of what Will has lived with. And then he was in Vegas, and he got into it with some dudes on some gang shit and stuff like that. And they shot at him, and he thought about what life would be like with Jada. And so he just leaned into the bullet. She said they haven't been together. Her and Will have not been together since 2016. Which does make the slap more confusing now. That's right, because like that, they haven't lived together since 2016. Now it feels less like you were defending your wife and more like you just wanted to hit Chris Rock. Like, turn that man to a tambourine for no reason. That's insane. It really is. Like, what? Not even defending your wife at this point. You were defending your neighbor, I guess. Haven't lived together since 2016. It also makes the entanglement more confusing now. Watching Will and Jada is just like the Black Inception. You know what I mean? It's just a nightmare and a nightmare and a nightmare. There's twists that nobody asked for. What? Entanglement. Because then, this is my thing. If they weren't together, why'd they have that whole talk acting like they were together? It made them look worse. Why did they do that? It made her look like a cheater and him look like a cuck, but then they weren't together. So what's the big deal now? I mean, the big deal is that she fucked her son's friend, which is... A lot of people don't know that. That was Jaden's friend. So Jaden over there waiting for play dates and stuff. Ain't nobody showing up like it's a Brazzers video. It's so chaotic. No, it's just very chaotic. And look, I want to be fair for a second. I do want to be fair. Everyone comes for Jada and everybody shits on Jada so hard. And I get it. It's easy because she won't stop talking. But like, some of this is on Will. We can all agree about some of this is genuinely on Will. People blame Jada for the slap. That's not her fault. That's a grown man. And he got up there and he slapped another grown man. You can't blame her for that. It's not like she used her powers. And people blame a lot of the marriage stuff on just Jada. Will is also married to Jada. You know what I mean? He could get a divorce if he wants to, but he doesn't want to. He does not want, and if you pay attention to the interviews, he said it. Divorce is not an option. He'd rather them live as single people and still be married than to get a divorce. Which is weird. It is weird. I understand. For a long time, they were the symbol of black love, especially in Hollywood, right? And that's a symbol that he carefully curated that maybe she didn't want to be a part of, but it's one of the reasons he can't let it go, because it's a failure that he will not accept, right? But to just live as two single people but still be married is weird. It's very odd. Who is it for? It's not for them. They're not together. It's not for us, because now she aired it out. Everybody knows. It's not for the kids, because they're already weird. So who is this for? And like, I mean, it must be rough. I do get it. I have empathy for both of them genuinely, because I think Will, you know, came on strong, wants to make it work and everything, and Jada was just not having it. And a part of me, you know, I'm wrapping up, but just a part of me, a part of me gets it. Because if it's not the life that she wanted, it shouldn't be the life she accepted. That's fair. You're an adult in the world and you make your own decisions and you need to live by them, right? But also, to be fair to her, I don't have a gorgeous millionaire trying to fuck me and marry me. I don't know. It probably seems pretty hard to turn down. I'm not gonna lie. Like if Zendaya walked in here right now and y'all look like you're together, if she told you, bro, if she was like, I want to marry you and be with you for the rest of my life, you'd probably be like, look, I'm in a happy relationship and I found my happiness. I hope you find yours. I'm not saying it'd be easy to say to her. You'd probably say it after I do, but I don't know if y'all saw, but Sam Bankman-Fried was found guilty on all charges. If you don't know who Sam Bankman-Fried is, he's the dude who looked like somebody microwave Shia LaBeouf. He was behind a multi-billion-dollar crypto scandal, and you know, took a lot of people's money. Had a lot of powerful friends, so he could take a lot of people's money. He was found guilty, and you know, he made a serious mistake. He stole money from rich people. Well, when you think about it, it's really all he did wrong. If you steal from the poor, you're gonna be pretty good off. Like, I don't know. This dude is gonna go away for a long time, which is crazy because I don't really understand what he did. But I'm glad he didn't do it to me. I'm like, you ever just, because I never got into crypto because I didn't understand it, so you ever just be so dumb you miss a whole tragedy? You just... Because I saw the whole thing coming. I was having FOMO and everything. And then everybody started losing their money. I was like, maybe it pays to not read sometimes. Maybe it's to my benefit that I have stayed as ignorant as possible on very specific subjects in life. I was having a conversation with a friend from back home. And so many things work in connection together to get me where I am. I saw this article about this guy. I think his name's, I might be mispronouncing it, but Brian Mwende. And he is in Kenya, and he was a lawyer. He was a fake lawyer. And he won 26 cases straight. 26 cases straight, one after the other. WWWW. And then they finally caught him. And now he is awaiting trial, where I pray he represents himself. That's phenomenal. 26. You got fake, and apparently it's a whole thing. I didn't know this. In Kenya, this is a whole thing. There are a bunch of fake lawyers, because he was just the first one. There's a bunch of fake lawyers that just never actually passed the bar, but they've been practicing. I guess they got a storefront or something. Like, I don't know, you just walk in and you're like, you seem like a lawyer. You know, the only way I know any lawyer has been a lawyer that I've ever worked with was the paper on the wall behind their desk. If that's fake, I have a fake lawyer. That's my favorite story, though. My favorite thing that happened was Paris Fashion Week.
If y'all aren't familiar, Paris has Fashion Week, and all these people high up in the fashion world, rich people, celebrities, they all descended on Paris for a week to see and be seen and stuff. And while they were there was an outbreak of bed bugs, which is hilarious. It couldn't be. You gathered all the richest people in the world together in one place and gave them bed bugs? Are we sure this wasn't an activist? You sure this wasn't Greta Thunberg trying new things? You know what I mean? Just her sitting there like, you take a jet, you pays the price. You know, could have been, we don't know. But it was amazing. They gave all those rich people bed bugs. It made me laugh so hard because it's Fashion Week, so half of them dress like bed bugs to begin with. So like, bed bugs probably thought it was mating season, you know what I mean? They were seeing them walk by like, okay, come through, thickness. I'm gonna take a bite of you later. But no, people from Fashion Week spoke to the press and the public. People from the local government spoke to the press and the public and everything. And mostly everyone was trying to maintain a sense of calm the entire time, right? We're very sorry that this is happening. This is not a reflection on our beautiful city. We're doing our best to move people. Just please stick with us, right? But there was one person that was my favorite. The deputy mayor also spoke to the public and the press. But when the deputy mayor came out, he was like, it's an outbreak. No one is safe. What kind of leader says no one is safe? We just came out of a global pandemic where no country's leader said no one is safe, even when no one was safe. That's crazy. Then the mayor, because the mayor came out, she was ready. She was like prim, proper. She made me feel reassured, and I wasn't even in Paris, right? And then she got this assistant-ass mayor behind her. No one is safe. She's probably like, get him out of here. It's crazy. No one is safe. Every leader I've ever had has tried to maintain a sense of calm in a crisis. I remember when I was in middle school, in English class. And English class was after lunch. And I'd seen this kid at lunch, and he had a nasty-ass lunch. I don't know what it was, but as soon as I saw it, I was like, he gonna be sick. That is disgusting. And so then I sat as far away from him as I could, corner of the classroom. And then middle of class, sure enough, his stomach started bubbling. And we all hear it. He just over here taking notes like... looking at us like, y'all don't hear me, right? It's like, of course we hear you. His stomach is loud as hell. And then in the middle class, he jumps up and runs out. And on the way to running out, because he was very sick, he threw up on the back of like 7 kids' heads. And our teacher said, calm down. I know y'all just got thrown up on. Let me get some towels. It's gonna be fine. She didn't say, no one is safe. You see what I mean? I worked at an Italian restaurant that burned down, right? It burned down, and even as the head chef was trying to put the flames out on his back, no one yelled, no one is safe. We just tried to put this man out. Actually, one of my favorite things about when that happened was, okay, so the chef is on fire, right? Like, and then the line cook ran out to the dining hall where everybody else was, and then just yelled to the whole dining hall, we on fire, motherfuckers! Which is like as informative as it is unhelpful. Like, he's telling them the details, but not enough to get them moving. Also, we are not on fire, just he is on fire. Some of the building is on fire, but mostly as we, it's just him. He on fire by himself, right? And so no one knows what to do, because even if someone ran in now and was like, we on fire, motherfuckers, you wouldn't immediately jump up and run. They looked at him and they were like, so is he on drugs or what's And it wasn't until the chef ran out behind him out the door with a couple flames still on his back that everybody cleared out. He yelled, we on fire, motherfuckers. He didn't yell, no one is safe. What would even possess you to put the words to get to the public, no one is safe? Like, when I think about it, now that I think about it, I think that was that deputy mayor low-key admitting he had bed bugs. That's what it was. It had to be no one is safe. That means I'm not safe. That's no one is safe. I wish there was video. There's no video of it happening. But you can tell that this is the case because anytime one of our leaders has to speak to us, they're calm because it's not their problem. That's what's happening. I grew up in Louisiana. Our whole state would get slammed by hurricanes, and the governor would come on TV and be like, we're gonna stick in this together, all right? We're all in this together. He's clearly in Massachusetts, by the way. We're all in this together, all right? Y'all just stick with me, we're gonna get through this. You know what I mean? I think that dude freaked out because it was his problem. It's hard to stay calm when you're in the middle of something, you know? I wish there was video. There's no video. I wish he would just come out, because you know he yelled it. You know, he was like, no one is safe. It's happening to everybody, including really cool people who don't deserve this. God damn, I wish there was a video just to see him be like, it's an outbreak, y'all. We doing our best, but this is bullshit.
I thought I had it all figured out, you know. I was sexting. And sexting's a very precarious situation. You want to make sure you're sexting at the right time, you know? Because if it's like 8 o'clock, you still got other people texting you, you know? You don't want to accidentally send a text that's incoming to somebody because you opened the thing. You know what I mean? And it's also like, what if you're not that skilled? Like, what if I'm not good texting with just my left hand? Now you texting typos and stuff. It's knocking the sexy right out of your sexting. You know, it's like, I'm gonna fud your bass. It's like, nobody's into it now. You know? So I had an idea. I was like, this is what I'm gonna do. And I didn't talk to anybody about it. I had never heard of anybody doing this, but in my mind, it was the best thing to do. I was like, I'm just gonna speak to text. So that way, I don't gotta worry about the other hand and everything, and I can just like get in the zone and stuff. I don't have to worry about other people texting me and everything. And it went horribly wrong. Because I wasn't at home. I was at my childhood home. So I was in my room, but it wasn't my house, you know? And it was, 9 o'clock or so, and we were sexted. That look, I'll read you the thing right now. This is what. Okay. All right. So she's like, "Oh, okay. And what's good? What would you do if you were here right now?" And then I was like, "Girl, I would tear those clothes off." And Mom, what are you doing in here? Mom, I had the door closed. You can't just open the door. I was just coming to see if you wanted dinner. No, I'm okay. Mom, get out right now. Boy, how you gonna tell me to get out somewhere in my house? I'm sorry, Mom, please, can you please leave and close the door? You know we don't have closed doors in this house. Which is true, that's a very like black family thing, of like you not closing the door in my house, what you up to in there? I was like, Mama, please leave, please, please leave. And she was like, all right, what's the big deal? I was like, nothing, Mom, just please get out of here. So anyway, girl, I would say... All right, thank y'all so much. Y'all have a great night.
When I was a kid, our class had a bully, and I'm just gonna call him John, right? And John He bullied everybody in like a very run-of-the-mill way. Like this was very standard bullying. Like slap the books out your hand. What's that? It was blow, right? And I think one of the reasons we let him get away with it wasn't just because he was a little bit bigger than all of us, but his voice changed first. And it changed so young, we didn't know what to do with that. Like, we didn't know that was coming for the rest of us. So then John would just walk up like, give me your homework. And I'd be like, that sounds like the devil. So, because I'm not equipped with holy water today, you gonna get this math homework. And there was another kid in our class, Reeve. And Reeve... I'm not gonna say he didn't have any friends, but Reeve had friends for like 20 minutes at a time because Reeve was one of the singular most annoying people I'd ever met in my entire life. It was almost to the level of a skill or a talent. It was absolutely insane. As an example, right? Reeve loved anime. And that's fine. I love anime too. But Reeve loved anime in a way that I didn't love anime because I at least know anime not real. Reeve loved anime to the point where he was letting it affect how he runs. Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about. Like he could never do anything regular. He had to do it anime every time. He could never just turn around. He had to be like, you ask Reeve a question, he doesn't know the answer. He can't just think about it. He has to go, It's like... As a fellow anime lover, I'm like, dog, chill. You making us look bad. Stop. Please. Oh, it was insane. And one day, we were at lunch, and Reeve was trying to make his carton of milk explode, right? With his powers. And so he holding his hand over the carton of milk, not touching it, holding it over. Nothing happening because it's not real. He finally gets so tired of waiting for the powers to activate that he grabbed the milk, squeeze it, drop it, and go, I did it. I did it. Y'all just didn't see it when I did it. But yeah, I did it. Ooh, I got it. Now, when he picked it up and he crushed it, milk went everywhere. And a lot of milk just spurted out and landed all over John. And John stood up, turned around, walked up to Reeve, towering over him, and was like, you got milk on me. We gonna fight later. And never before in my young life had I been so excited for violence. Because as word spread, people were taking sides. They were like, no, John gonna kill Reeve. And we're like, no, Reeve weird. I bet you he gonna scratch him to death. Like he has that X factor. We might be able to get rid of both of them at the same time. And so after school, we gathered around in a little circle in front of the two of them. They're about to fight, right? And John is like lumbering back and forth. And we knew John was strong, but he also, he moved slow. And he was moving slow pre-fight. He was just stalking back and forth like Mike Tyson in the early 90s, just like ready to do something terrible, right? And then on the other side of this imagined ring, Reeve is using his pre-fight time to power up. I've watched a lot of anime, and I've never seen what this child did next. Because to power up, the first thing he did was let his knees buckle. What is this? What power are you drawing from the earth right here like this? This doesn't make any sense at all. He over here, knees buckled, arms out. This is not how you power up in any anime. This is how you fall down the stairs if you a slinky. All right? And this boy here, like this, doing the power-up yell. Oh! And then the fight starts, and the fight starts with Reeve attacking John, right? Coming right at him, but he coming at him in the power-up stance. So he over, oh! And admittedly, John didn't know what to do. He really was like, And so they start fighting, and kind of what we thought was gonna happen happens. John is big, he's strong, but he telegraphs all his punches, and he's slow. Boom, but he's missing, right? And Reeves attacks. Reeves' attacks have a lot of energy to them. That's not really going anywhere. Like, instead of punching, he over here, yeah! And so he's fast enough getting out of John's way, but he's not doing any damage. And so John over here punching air, and Reeve over here throwing air. So it's not really a fight. But I really was gathered around all those people, shoulder to shoulder, watching two of them go at it like fight, 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 fight. First time in my life. Fight, 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 fight. So when I think about Elon and Trump, right? It's like it's like one of the most insane bouts I've ever watched take place in my life. In case you haven't heard, Elon and Trump are fighting. And it's like Christmas came early and twice. Like, the only person calling for peace is Kanye West. That's crazy. It's crazy. And we knew that this thing was bound to happen, you know? Because you have to think of who Elon is as a person and who Trump is as a person, right? And it's wild because one, richest man in the world, one, most powerful man in the world and everything, but they had a shaky alliance from the start because I don't think we gave Trump in the moment enough credit for how nice he was being to Elon. He was very nice to Elon. You know? Because Elon, weird. Wait. Elon weird, and Trump didn't say anything about it the entire time, acting like he didn't see it. Like, that's not who he is as a person. Trump is a natural bully. Like, that's what he does, you know? And he was very nice to Elon by omission. I'm not just talking about what he said, because Trump is always using superlatives if he likes you. If he likes you, you're the best, smartest, most amazing that's ever done it, right? That's how he speaks. But he was nice to Elon by what he didn't say. Because you gotta remember, Donald Trump is the same man who roasted the supreme leader of North Korea to his face. I don't know if y'all remember, it was like 2018 or something, and Kim Jong-un and him met up to have dinner and like talks and stuff like that, and there was a photographer there taking pictures of both of them before they sat down for the dinner, and Trump turned to the photographer and was like, "You making us all look nice and handsome and thin?" A lot of people think Kim Jong-un doesn't speak or understand English. He understands English. He consumes a lot of American media. And Kim Jong-un was even standing there like, did he? He know I kill people, right? Like, that same guy was very nice to Elon. And he was nice to Elon by omission because Elon jumped in front of Trump. You saw the jump. The world saw the jumps. Trump invited Elon on stage, and Elon walked on stage like, this man showed bottom belly in front of Donald Trump. This grown man showed full belly button, broad daylight in front of Donald Trump, and Trump said nothing. Acting like he didn't see it. Just let that dude start talking right after. That was wild. You know, Elon jumped because he was excited. And he was excited because what was about to happen had never happened before. Never before, right? Obviously, Elon, richest man in the world, and as long as there's been money infused in politics, the wealthy have had a ton of influence. That's nothing new. What was about to happen was unprecedented. This rich man was about to actually get to go in the government himself. No back channels, no liaisons. He was going to go in the government himself. He was going to end every investigation into him and his companies. He was going to fire everyone investigating. He was very excited. And I guess he was more excited than any president we've ever had because all of our presidents have kept their feet on the ground the entire time. There's no old footage of Kennedy like, it doesn't exist. There's no portrait of Thomas Jefferson like, no, get the one where he was getting air. That was... This man jumped in front of Donald Trump. Trump said nothing. Elon laughed in front of Trump. As someone who has traveled the world and continues to travel the world, making people laugh, I've heard all types of laughs. And believe me when I tell you, Elon laughed like he throwing up. Watch any interview Elon does where he makes a joke, because only he will get it, and then he starts laughing, and he's just sitting there like, you know, it's because it's comedy. It's funny with jokes. This man laughed in front of Donald Trump. Trump said nothing. Elon danced in front of Donald Trump. Elon danced like... Elon danced like he gotta look at each body part first to give it permission to move. Like, it is truest that he'll be there. In front of Donald Trump. And Trump didn't say a word. That's like sitting Eminem down in front of a yacht going 40 knots, holding 30 thoughts who are each holding bulbs that are 20 watts, and he can't rap about it at all. That's his whole thing. It's wild that he's not saying anything. He is being very nice to Elon. And I knew it wasn't gonna hold. Everybody knew it was gonna fall apart. We didn't know when, but we knew it was a short-lived alliance. And it was short-lived, in my opinion, for two reasons. All right? The first one is that you cannot ever watch someone treat everyone terribly and think think that that doesn't mean they'll do the same thing to you under the right conditions. You know what I mean? And I should be clear here. I'm not talking about someone who has a bad day, someone who's in a bad way at the moment. We're all human. People have bad days. I'm talking about someone who, by and large, treats people terribly, but is nice to you. It's only for right now. As soon as you're in the position the other people are in, they'll treat you the same way. And if you don't think so, you're a fool. And both of them, without exception, think that they are the exception. Oh no, I've seen him scream at everybody and, treat them like trash. It won't happen to me though. All right? One has the most money in the world. One has the most power in the world. But neither one of them have respect for anybody. And the three things that men like them seek, and I think that they seek them because maybe they're the only things that they care about, or maybe they truly believe that if they get these three or enough of them, everything else will fall into place. But men like these men are obsessed with money, power, and respect. You can have all the money in the world, you can have all the power in the world, but a lot of people conflate fear with respect. And they're not the same thing. You can be afraid of what someone could do to you with all of their money. It doesn't mean you respect them. You can be afraid of what someone can do to you with all of their power. It doesn't mean that you respect them. And you know it because as soon as the money is gone, the respect is gone. As soon as the power is gone, the respect is gone. And there are plenty of people. There are plenty of people I've known growing up in my life, men that I looked up to who did not have any money. And they didn't have any more power than enough to control themselves, but I respected them because of how they treated people, how they carried themselves. And respect is the one thing, one of many, that can't be bought and it can't be forced. And neither one of them really get that. And they don't respect anyone. So eventually this was gonna come to a head. And I knew it was starting because Elon truly believes, he's even said so, that he bought Trump that election. He spent $250 to $280 million in the election. He believes, look, you lost the last one, you won this one. I'm the difference, I'm the deciding factor. I got you that election. And you're not gonna convince a man like Donald Trump that you got him anything. He's like, that's my base, those are my voters, they like me, they don't like you. You didn't get me anything. I'll gladly take your money, but you didn't get me the election. I got it myself. That was always gonna be a sticking point. And so then Elon took that belief and he took it to a local race in Wisconsin, right? And he was even doing like little $1 million raffles if you vote for the person who wants you to vote for. It was very confusing how it worked. Like I didn't get it at all. And he even went to Wisconsin, was stumping for this person, was there in Wisconsin. And then the candidate that he backed lost by double digits. And it's because people see how much money he has. He's the richest man in the world, but they don't like or respect him. He hurt that candidate by being there and by doing those raffles. It would be like if someone came to you, and let's say in this scenario, you're working and you're doing all right, you're getting by, and maybe sometimes it's paycheck to paycheck, things get rough, right? But someone comes up to you and they're like, hey, you just won the lottery. And you're like, what? I didn't even enter. Don't worry, we got you. What? How much did I win? $1 billion. Going from paycheck to paycheck to $1 billion. That's crazy. And you're like, there's gotta be a catch. I didn't enter any lottery. What do I have to do? And they're like, that's simple. You just have to hang out with Elon for the rest of your life. And at least based on what those people did in Wisconsin, they were like, you know what, actually, my job at McDonald's is perfect. I really like being customer facing. I like the rapport I have with my coworkers. Just keep that money and him away from me, please. Because he could not buy the race, because as much money, don't get me wrong, $1 million, ton of money. That's a ton of money. And people have done way worse for less, but at a certain point, people reach their breaking point. And they're like, no, I have enough respect for myself. I have enough respect for my community, for my state, to not just vote this way, just for some money from a guy who I know is a bad actor, you know? And once that happened, I knew it was probably up for Elon, because he lost that race. He hurt that candidate by going there. And if there's one thing Donald Trump hates, is a loser. And you could see some of the shine wearing off of Elon. Because initially, when the administration started, they protected Elon heavy. Anybody said anything about him, anybody did anything, they were on it like that immediately. But then Elon started getting on people's nerves. You know, initially, when they won, somebody would ask a question, they'd shut it down to the media. Elon is a patriot. He's helping clear this government of waste, fraud, and abuse. You leave Elon alone. And then people started to rebel against Elon specifically through Tesla. Tesla's stock started plummeting. People stopped buying Teslas. And then people started vandalizing Teslas. They started blowing up Teslas. And then Pam Bondi came on the news and was like, if you vandalize a Tesla, we will find you. We will prosecute you. They were helping Elon a lot. Trump even turned the front of the White House into like a dealership for a day. And he had Elon there, right? They were doing their best to help Elon. But then, as you saw the months go by, they started mentioning him less. You started seeing them together less. You could tell this thing was waning. And then, how I know that they had stopped protecting him, his 130 days was up as the Doge, like, daddy or whatever. Like, I don't know what this job is. Like, depending on who you ask on what day, he's like an advisor, but he's the leader, but he's not involved. It's like, it's all very weird, but he can only do it for 130 days because as America, we only have like 3 laws left, and one of them is that you can't be in a made-up position for more than 130 days. And so it was like time. And so it was time for him to go, right? And it being time for him to go, he asked Trump if he could stay. And Trump was like, dang, man. No, we only have so many, like, bathrooms in here. Like, it wouldn't work, you know? I imagine Trump had the reaction that you would have if the worst person you know asked if they could live with you for a little while. Just like, oh, dang, my place just flooded just now. That's right when you asked me too. That's crazy. I know we're not there, but I can feel with my bed underwater. Like, it's just a thing I have. So you should probably find somewhere for both of us to stay, because I need somewhere to stay too. Find a place for both of us to stay and you just stay there. That would be great. And so Elon, shows up for his last day at work, and the president is in the Oval Office with him, honoring him, giving him a key to nowhere. And one of the ways I knew they had stopped protecting Elon is because there were like 2 publications that came out, one the day before he left Doge, one the day of, and both those publications from like high caliber written journalism basically said, headline contents were basically, did y'all know he was a crackhead? Like, he'd been a crackhead. That's crazy. Elon a full crackhead. I had no idea. They were listing the drugs he was doing. They're like, he does cocaine, he does mushrooms, some hallucinogens and everything, ketamine. Horses can't keep up with Elon. Like, he really out here a full crackhead. That's wild. And then, to prove the doubters, the detractors, what Elon would call the full-blown liars wrong, he showed up to the Oval Office for his last day of work, higher than his rockets go. This man was in the Oval Office standing next to the President of the United States, tweaking. This man was over here hitting he looked like he arguing 5 minutes into the future. It was wild to watch. This man over. Could not stop moving. At one point, the only, like, you have to watch the video, but like, the only way I could describe it is he felt like a slow Michael Jackson, right? Like, just, he was just over here like, it was insane. This man next to the president cracking out, and Trump said nothing. And then he left, you know. He left, and I'll admit to you right now, I thought it was like a PR stunt. I really did. I thought that he was leaving, and then he'd just keep running Doge in the background, and this would take some of the heat off of him. Now you wouldn't think of him so directly. People wouldn't attack his businesses so hard, because in the time that he entered politics to present, he's lost somewhere around like $100 billion or something like that. And it's all like a valuation thing. It goes up and down, but you could see that at least the boards of the businesses that he was on are genuinely worried, even if he doesn't care. So I thought he was gonna leave politics for a little while, keep working in the shadows. Maybe the stock would go up a little bit, but nothing would really change. And it turns out that was not the case. He had really been getting on people's nerves. Like hard. And you saw it with Trump. They used to always, be talking about Elon, mention him, to not mentioning him at all. And then the people that Elon had to deal with, it wasn't really Trump as much as the actual cabinet, and they couldn't stand that dude. They hated that dude so much. And so he's really out. And you hear reports, now this stuff is all hearsay, I don't know if any of it is true, but apparently he was having shouting matches with Marco Rubio all the time. All of these cabinet people that Trump got in, Elon has had a spat with most of them, right? Scott Bessent, apparently him and Elon almost got in an actual fight. Scott Bessent doesn't look like he can fight. If you... If you don't know what Scott Bessent look or sound like, just imagine if like printer paper came to life. Like and Elon was truly out. He was out, and one thing really stuck out to me. It was the fact that Elon and Trump share a sort of lived experience where they're not used to hearing no and it's sticking. No is usually an inconvenience to a yes for them. They usually get their way. And so for Elon to be told no, and then he was actually sidelined, and then things that he wanted to happen weren't happening. He wanted some dude that he recommended to be the head of NASA. Trump said no. And then there were things that Elon didn't like because he felt like apparently they were undercutting all his work, like Trump's big, beautiful bill it's named the Big Beautiful Bill because imagination. And Elon has hated that thing, I guess, for a while. Just the idea of it. It's almost universally despised. Democrats obviously hate it, and Republicans also hate it, but for different reasons. They don't care that it's like gutting, programs and whole agencies and that we're all gonna die. They don't like it because it raises the deficit anywhere from $3 to $5 trillion, right? And so it takes about 4 or 5 days. And then Elon tweets. He's like, I can't stand it anymore. I cannot stand it anymore. This bill is a disgusting abomination. And everybody in the House that voted for it, you did wrong. Right? And Trump said nothing. I was like, did he find God or something? Like what is happening? This is not the dude we know. He attacks those who attack him. And he's finally asked about it. He's asked about it in a press conference, and they tell him exactly what Elon said. He's like, I'm really disappointed with Elon. He knew the bill. He knew it better than some of the people that voted on it. He knew this bill, and he knew it was going to be cutting, his electric vehicle credits like that. Maybe that's what he's upset about. I have no idea. But in case you don't remember, I was very nice to him. That dude showed up with a black eye. I didn't say anything. Because he did. Elon showed up for his last day of work, high and with a black eye that Trump just fully let go. He didn't point at it, didn't motion to it, nothing. Was very chill about the black eye. And then, in the Oval Office, these are some of, not all, but some of the top journalists in America. Obviously, they have questions for Elon of what his plans are. Now that he's leaving Doge, he's going to spend all his time on his companies. They have plans to ask Trump questions about what he's going to do with Doge now that Elon is gone. What's the future of it, right? But these top journalists, the first question that I at least saw them ask was, what's wrong with your eye? Like, that's... Nobody gonna say nothing? Like, his eye. And then Elon was like, it's actually like a funny story. I asked my 5-year-old, my 5-year-old little ex, I told him to punch me with Ralph Hudson. I told him to punch me, and he punched me. I got a black eye. It was actually, he's strong for a 5-year-old. It's kind of funny. Elon said he had a black eye because his 5-year-old punched him. That's a crackhead story if I ever heard one. That is a full crackhead lie. You must have the most synthetic skin known to man if this 5-year-old is out here dodging and giving black eyes. And so Trump was like, look, maybe we'll go on to have a great relationship. Maybe we won't, because that's the thing. People come in here with us, they like being here, and then when it's time to go, they either embrace it or they lose their minds. You can tell who broke up with who by how people move after a breakup. You know what I mean? Because while Trump is talking, Elon is tweeting. He's tweeting, and it's a lot. This dude goes all the way back to Trump's old tweets from like 2013, 2015, where he's like, I can't believe what they're doing with the spending bill. This is such irresponsible spending. If you have this much of a deficit, you won't have a country. And he's going back and showing all these old tweets, and he's quote tweeting them like wise words. Once again, you can tell who broke up with who, because for you to scroll back to 2013, you hurt. You are mad. You know how much his thumbs must be exhausted. 2013 tweets. Trump was tweeting 272 times a day, and he made it all the way back to 2013, which means he read them all. He hurt. So he hitting them with the 2013 "this you" text, like, that's crazy. That was insane. And he keeps tweeting. He's getting madder and madder. I don't even know what's happening in the background, but he is tweeting himself down a tunnel, because every time he tweets, Tesla stock drops by like $13 billion. It's just going down and down and down and down. And he's tweeting up a storm, right? He even tweets out, he's like, you wouldn't have won without me. Okay, if it hadn't been for me, Republicans wouldn't have won the House. The Dems would be in the House. The Dems would have the White House, and you'd have a slim majority in the Senate. You ungrateful. Keeps tweeting, keeps tweeting, keeps tweeting, getting more and more upset. I don't know what's happening in the background, but this man is getting more and more pissed off. He even tweets, every single one of you Republican senators who votes for this bill will be voted out next term, all right? I will put money behind it, okay? He over here, honestly, Elon over here talking like he one of the people or something. Like, I was like, what is happening right now? What do you mean, we, dog? Like, make me uncomfortable. But he says it, and then he said, oh, he's getting madder and madder and madder. And then he tweets out threatening Republicans specifically. He's like, look, here's the deal. Trump's gonna be the president for 3.5 more years. I'm gonna be around for 40. That must have sent chills down your spine if you were a Republican senator, any Congress. But Trump is gonna be president for 3.5 more years. I'll be around for 40. You could hear the threat in it when you read it. Trump is gonna be president 3.5 more years. I will be around for 40. And I was sitting in my room like, not on crack, like not on crack. Like that's not, you must not know what crack is. Like that's not nutritious at all. The crack is not good for you. You should not have crack. Be around for 40. All right. Oh, it's insane. And then Trump finally tweets. He's had enough. And you can tell he's had enough because we know the type of man Trump is. We know the type of figure he is, the type of president he is. He's had enough of this, and he's been holding back. He's been very nice to Elon. I'm sure in his head he was like, I've been very, very nice to this dude. Elon acts and moves like he snuck into a body. And Trump didn't say anything. Trump is over here like, I didn't mention the jumping, the laughing, anything. This man blew crack smoke on my shoulder, and I was very nice to him. And so then Trump tweets out, he's like, hey, yo, one of the easiest ways for us to save billions and billions and billions of dollars is just get rid of all of Musk's government contracts. That would do it quick. And then Democrats were like, do you mean it? Or like, are you just mad or do you mean it? All right, I was just asking. Okay. And then Elon tweets this clip that is him and Trump in front of a Tesla in front of the White House, and the quote for the tweet just says, remember when? I was like, oh, he hurt. Oh, he must be sick right now. I've been broken up with most of my life, but I've never hit somebody with a remember when. So crazy. Remember when? And then Musk tweets again. He's like, hey, since Trump wants to threaten my government contracts, how about SpaceX just goes ahead and disassembles Dragon whatever ship right now? And that would be all well and good, except there are 4 astronauts in the International Space Station right now that are probably floating like, what did we do? Like that's, I'm not in this at all. Because they're mad, furious, going at each other, you know? And then, I don't know what pulls the trigger, you know? Trump tweeted one more time, and it still felt very reserved. It felt very nice. He was like, look, I don't care if Elon turns against me. I want the big, beautiful bill passed. He can just deal with it. Let's get this legislation done, right? And then Elon tweets out, all right, time to drop the big bomb. Trump is in the Epstein files. That's why they haven't come out yet. Have a nice day, DJT. can tell who broke up with who because the person that gets broken up with is the one that tries to ruin your life and tells you have a nice day in like the same breath. Oh, that's crazy. That's gonna be a hard one to dig yourself out of because Epstein is like the burying ground. It is the conspiracy 101, right? So many people had podcasts, had hours of content going over Epstein, talking about who might be involved, who's in the Epstein files, who's in the Epstein log, his little black book, all that stuff, going over and over and over it, getting people really feverish over it. And then some of those same people, because of who they are and because who they're connected to, they get in office. They get into government office through Trump, right? That was a mistake because even the hardcore conspiracy theorists knew. When Elon tweeted that out, Trump is in the Epstein files. That's why they haven't come out yet. Almost right underneath is Alex Jones saying, God help us all. Elon done got Alex Jones pressed. Because where do you go from here truly, you know? Where do you go? Because those same people who were talking about, if they just let me in a room full of files, I'd find the Epstein files in 5 minutes. Just let me in the room. And now you're in the FBI. And so when people ask you, what's up? And you're like, actually, it's nothing. Like, don't worry about it. Nothing happened. Just go back to what you were doing. It's not. That does not sound real. I'm not saying anything else is even going on. I'm saying what you have stoked makes it impossible to stomp out. There will never be enough information coming out. There will never be enough stuff uncovered. There'll never be enough files released. You know, they tried initially. They tried. They were like, hey, we're releasing the Epstein file. They even made it like, you know, like a Fox News event. Epstein files coming out 9 p.m. tonight, right? And when they released it to a lot of these like blue check conspiracy theorists, Twitter influence. I don't even know what it's called, but they released it to them. And those people were on fire. Those people were pissed. Because when they actually opened it and they read it, because they meant it. These are true believers, by the way. These aren't people that are like part of the grift. They're reading it and they realize that everything in these things has already been released already. There's no new information in these things. In fact, they did such a bad job of trying to make it look real that they redacted stuff that was already public. And that was, for that conspiracy theory group, very weird. That was very, very weird. You know? And so that was already strike one. And now Elon's saying this, that's strike two. Because it's not like that's new information. We knew that Trump was involved with Epstein. There's literally video of them partying together and stuff like that, like on MSNBC from 1992. Like, that's not news or anything. But when you're a conspiracy theorist and nothing is enough, nothing is enough. You know? And so then in the background, people are trying to chill this thing out. There are White House aides, there's Elon's assistants trying to get these two to mediate, not make it any worse than it is right now. You know? And as of the time I'm talking, there's a lot of stuff that Elon's taken down, like tweets that he took down. And even Trump is trying to be very nice to Elon. They asked him his first interview since all this happened. And he's like, look, I don't know. I'm just trying to run the country. I wish him well and everything. I don't know anything about his drug habit and him being a full-on crackhead. That's not any of my business, right? So publicly, he's putting on a very good face. He's trying to be very professional, very presidential. And apparently, rumor has it, privately, he is calling everybody he knows, like, you know he a crackhead, right? Like, no, he blew the smoke right on my back. I had to get my suit cleaned. And look, I'm not saying that this is the end of either of them. I don't know if they'll reconcile. I don't think that's even possible. I just know it's the first time that I'm standing shoulder to shoulder with a bunch of people, watching two people go at it like fight, 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 fight. Yo, Detroit, y'all been amazing. Thank you so much.
I was getting a smoothie at a Julius Caesar. It's a smoothie place. Actually, you know what? It's not Julius. It's Orange Julius. But I couldn't see the sign well until very recently. Someone told me it wasn't Julius Caesar. Either way, I was there, right? I was there, and they put the name of the smoothie in big letters, and they put all the ingredients in little letters. So then I was leaning forward on the counter as far as I could. My stomach was on the counter. I was leaning just to see what was in one of the smoothies that I might like, right? So then the cashier, she's turned around, she's bent over, she's doing something with supplies. So I'm leaning over the counter as much as I can. But then she stands up, she turns around, and we're nose to nose. And then she limboed on me. She leaned back as far as she could. And I wanted to explain to her, ma'am, I wasn't trying to kiss you, all right? I have very bad eyes. I actually went to the optometrist. He put the thing in front of my face. I don't know what it's called, but it's the thing from the Justin Timberlake album. But I didn't want to explain all that, so I was just like, I don't love you, and walked away.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, hit the notification bell, and tell a friend. That would be a huge help if you tell people about it. Sharing is great. There's like a share button, but if you tell people, they might click on it.
You ready for your headliner? Yeah. I want y'all to put your hands together for Josh Johnson.
A while back, I got invited to a friend's house, and he had cooked for me and some of his other friends. And when I say cooked, I mean like he went all out. You know, it was about 6 of us all together, right? But this is like multi-course, 5 hours of preparation, been cooking all day type thing. So by the time we get there, there's a whole spread across the table. There's stuff that he's pulling out of the oven. And we were touched that our friend wanted to do this for us, right? Took his own money, used the skills that he had to make good food, to have a good experience, have a good meal with us, right? And so, you know, we sit down, and we sort of like half plated already, you know, when we sit down. And as soon as we get ready to eat, I guess he didn't pay his light bill, because as soon as we get ready to leave, the lights go out, right? And when I say we were ready to eat, I'm talking about napkin in and everything, chair all brought up and stuff, and then the lights pop off, right? And then he doesn't mention it at all, right? I'm scooting my chair up and the lights go out, and he doesn't even go, ooh, like nothing. He just, y'all, let's eat. And it is pitch black, okay? And in my head, I'm like, why? How often does this happen that you're not gonna say anything at all? Not acknowledge it one bit. And so then, like, I'm sitting in the dark and I'm looking around. I can't see anybody, but I'm looking around. You know the way you try to meet eyes when something wild happens and everything. And then after like a couple seconds, he was like, wait. I'm waiting to hear why. Maybe it's a breaker issue. Maybe it's just, you know, the block or something like that. And he's like, wait. Let's say grace. To be fair, when I say grace, I bow my head and close my eyes anyway, but it's different when the darkness is not your choice, right? There's something about saying grace in the dark that's genuinely menacing, okay? Because it's a prayer over your meal, but if it's pitch black and you hear somebody else go, Lord, please bless this food for the nourishment of our bodies, you're like, this one doesn't sound right. I don't like that. And it must happen a lot, because not only does he not address it, but he is going with his fork and knife, and he's the only one out of us that's got any rhythm going with the plate, okay? Because he chose the right friends to do this in front of, because he doesn't mention it, so we don't want to mention it because we don't want to feel rude, you know? We out here treating broke like a country, like I wouldn't want to offend his culture, you know what I'm saying? Like, if eating in the dark is part of his customs, let's go ahead and acquiesce. And so we're all in the dark, and I could have sworn I knew how to use a fork and knife. I was positive, because I've been doing it my entire life. But it's not until you're in the dark that you realize, at least me, I have no idea where my mouth is. Because we already had some peas and carrots and some mashed potatoes on the plate, right? But like I said, this is all like Thanksgiving style and everything, all family style. So a lot of the dishes are in other containers on the table. So I'm just trying to start with what I have. So then I go to scoop up some mashed potatoes, and then I stab myself in the cheek, right? So and he had done a good job with the mashed potatoes, because they were nice and buttery, which meant I couldn't tell if I was bleeding or not, because it was just, because I had hit it hard. I got two prongs in the mouth and 2 prongs on the cheek, but I'm like, that got me good. I need to slow down, right? Because you're not really thinking about how fast your hand is moving when you try to eat. So then I'm like, let me go ahead and attack the peas. But the peas, I can't find my spoon, right? So the peas are gonna have to go with this fork, and they are slipping. I'm imagining they're going right off the plate. And so I'm trying to stab for some peas, but everybody can hear me just clinking, just hitting plate, right? And finally I feel a little thunk. That's a carrot. So then I lift up slowly. I bite a carrot. It's hard, because he didn't actually cook everything well, just the mashed potatoes. So now I'm eating bad food in the dark, right? Because every time I do get a bite of something, the food is still hot, because he did a good job of plating, right? So there was a little bit of little chicken thigh that was already on the plate and stuff. So I cut that up a little bit, put the chicken in my mouth. But now I didn't realize how hot it would be, because I couldn't see steam, right? So now I have burned my tongue in the moment, and I'm doing that. And I'm not the only one, because he is the only one hitting any of this with rhythm. Yeah, I mean, like his fork, you can tell his fork slicing where it's supposed to slice, that he's scooping where he's supposed to scoop and everything. And everybody else, I'm assuming, is just making noise, because there are some, I don't hear any chewing. So I feel like the person next to me was just like, because the meat was tough, right? And so then, like I said, it was like Thanksgiving family style and stuff. So then our host pops up and is like, I forgot some of the cranberry sauce. Let me go up and get it. And for as adept, okay, he gets up, and all we hear is, ow. I'm back. And so I know that I'm making an attempt to eat. I'm doing my best, right? But then apparently someone else is, because from the other side of the table, I can hear someone, because once again, it's family style. I hear somebody, hey, sheepishly, hey, you don't need to whisper, it's just dark. Hey, real quick, okay. Sorry. Can somebody pass the green beans? And so then the person who thought they had the green beans starts feeling for the container, right? So now we hear them plopping along the table and everything. And then they finally grab it, and then they from over here, who wanted it again? And instead just saying their name, they're like, over here. So then we had to get the green beans across the table, Marco Polo style. And I could feel people passing it past me, but I didn't want to be involved, right? I didn't want to have anything to do with this whatsoever. And so then I can see I could see, I can't see anything, but like, I can tell that the person to my left is trying to reach for it from the person from my right. And so I'm like, I don't need to help, I just need to lean back. But because they can't see, they lean forward and just grab my face. And then they're like, is this it? I'm like, no, it's not. And so I push their hand forward. They actually grab, I'm assuming, the casserole platter. And then I think they dropped it a little bit because then I feel a hot splash, right? So I get a hot splash, boom, right on the face. And I'm just like, oh. They get the green beans over to that side of the table. Turns out it was yams, okay? So, and when you go to take what you think is gonna be green beans and it's yams, it's a texture you'll never forget, right? No one was ready. And so once I get like hot splash, because it was whatever it was, it burned a little. I was ready to go, and it had been some time, you know what I mean? Like, most meals only take, 15, 20 minutes to really eat until you get full anyway, and it had been however long it had been, I don't know. And so I'm ready to go, but I don't want to be the first one. So then I'm not good at it, but I try to throw my voice. A little bit like, well, this has been so great, And obviously everybody felt the same way, because then as soon as I scoop my chair to get back, everybody else get ready to get up, right? And so we all start getting up and we thank him for cooking and everything. And then we feel our way for the door. And as soon as we open the door, a bunch of hallway light spills in. I'm like, why didn't we just... This was wholly unnecessary. And so I go to leave, and as I'm leaving, I pass a mirror in his lobby, which is the first look I get of my face. I haven't looked like this after I've eaten since I was a baby, all right? Because I got mashed potatoes here. I knew about those, right? But then I got a little bit of like chicken right here, just a couple of strands of chicken. And then this was gravy. So I got splashed with hot gravy coming down my face. That's why I vet people now. Like now when people offer to have me over and cook, I ask some of their friends, I'm like, hey, have you been over there before? Are they a good cook? Do the lights stay on? Things that you just need to know before you go. You know it's a really, really beautiful thing? Black women are having an incredible summer. This is phenomenal, right? Like just in the Olympics, Lauren Scruggs is the first black woman to win an individual medal in fencing. And not only do I just love seeing black people succeed, I love seeing black people succeed at stuff I didn't know we did. So if you don't know what fencing is, because I didn't know. It's basically when people cosplay Bridgerton, all right? Okay, so it's a mix of stuff. So like, when people go on a padded cell, right? They do that, but they wear the cell, okay? So they go ahead and wrap themselves in like a padded cell and stuff, and then they get that stance, right? They get that long stance, and then they got their little sword is thin, and then they sort of try to musketeers each other until one of them get the most points, right? I still haven't figured out why they always do it. To me, it would just make more sense to have it and be like, ah! Like that seems like you really get some points just really coming at somebody, right? And I thought, as I thought about it more and as I learned more about the sport, which I still don't know very much, I thought to myself, man, I probably could have been pretty good at fencing if I had applied myself, because I grew up in the South with black grandma. So I'm used to the sound of. Because my grandma and I had this thing, right? Like if I was really acting up, if I was bad enough, right? She would tell me, go outside. There's a dead bush, and go ahead and pick your switch. And if you don't know what picking a switch is, if you were born after Child Protective Services, picking your switch was a form, after you've been acting up and go out there and pick your switch, it was a form of psychological torture because you would get out there and then you trying to pick the switch most likely to break. Because you're like, all right, let me see. I'll let her get 3 good licks in, but then it'll snap and she'll be like, let bygones be bygones, right? And so you go out there and I would go out there, I'd be testing them. I'd be like, that one got too much bend to it. Let me guess. And so then you bring your switch back to your grandma, and then she go to pop it a couple times, and just out of reflex, you start, whoo, whoo. It's hot, right? I think if my grandma had whooped me just a few more times, I really could have been a medalist in fencing. Like, I could have been like... And then, Lauren is amazing, but you also have Simone Biles. The most decorated gymnast of all time. She won again today. I thought they were done. She won with the vault. A lot of people are amazed at how high, how elegantly, just the way that she moves through the air, the strength that she has, the grace in her movements and stuff like that. And some people are surprised at how high she can go and all that stuff. I'm not at all. I'm surprised that she comes back down to earth. Because I saw just a picture of her doing the vault, and when she flew, I was like, y'all, she gone. She going to space. Incredible. Like, Simone will get me so hyped up. I remember the first time I saw her. First time I ever saw her perform at all in one of her events. And I got so hyped, I tried to do a cartwheel. That's what I can't stand with people that are good at stuff. They make it look easy, and then you do it, and then you almost snap your whole spine. Because she did some routine where she was like, boom, 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 and she was just everywhere and nowhere at the same time. She was flying, she was coming down, and then she got done, and I was like, ooh, that's so cool. And then my back hit the wall. I just started sliding down. Even outside of Olympics, you got Kamala Harris. Joe Biden steps aside, Kamala takes up the mantle. She is a presidential candidate and everything. And, when she enters the race, she's actually polling slightly higher than Biden was, right? Really like giving Trump a run for his money to a certain degree. Like she's polling a little bit higher. And then in the time since, she's been polling, ticking up and everything. And there's just been so many instances of like let's say she's on camera or something. This happened a few days ago. She was walking up the stairs already. An improvement, right? She was walking up the stairs to the plane that was waiting for her, and a reporter yelled, right? A reporter was like, oh, I'm like trying to answer, get her to answer a question. And she turned, because she heard him, she turned. She turned because she heard him, right? And then he's like, have you picked a VP yet? And she went, no, not yet. And then she keeps walking up. Now, this may not be a big deal to some, but if you are a Democrat, it's a lot more multitasking than we've been used to in a long time. She can walk, she can hear, and she can talk at the same time. That's wild. I'm not saying it's new, but it's been a minute. And just when it felt like her campaign couldn't get any more momentum, Trump went to the National Association of Black Journalists. And I want to say something real quick, and I really want you to hear me when I say this, all right? For real. Please, right? Please hear me when I say this. I think that it's important, no matter who you are, because other countries are better at doing this than we are sometimes. No matter who you are, I think it's important for someone to go where most people oppose them and express their ideas. I think it's important because it's important for us to have discussions that are real. A discussion where the person who believes the thing said the thing to you and you're not hearing it secondhand from someone you already agree with. Part of why we are the way we are right now is that people don't really want to listen to someone that they are diametrically opposed to. They want to hear from someone they already like, but someone you already like tends to believe what you believe. So then we're playing telephone with each other's ideas sometimes, right? And so I do think that it was good what he did. He went to a place where he was not gonna be lauded over, was not gonna be like